But here's the guava one. I'm Jen from Flip Family, and today I'm going to share with you a very simple dessert bar that your kids are gonna love. I'm going to share how to use different toppings as well. So before we get on with the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. First, I'm going to show you the ingredients you will need. You will need about a cup and a half of flour. I'm actually showing double the size, so this is actually 2 cups, but you can use a cup and a half of flour, a half a cup of sugar, about 1 stick of butter. I'm gonna use probably 2 sticks of butter for this, and then about 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I'm going to add my flour into my mixing stand, the mixing bowl, and I'm using the paddle attachment to do this, and then my sugar. I'm gonna just stir that. I'm gonna combine the ingredients. One more thing I didn't mention is you need a pinch of salt. So that will bring all the flavors together. Then I'm going to cut up my butter into cubes and then add it to the mixture. So I'm keeping it on stir mode first just to get everything going, and then I'm going to increase the power. So with shortbread crust, you want to make it ahead of time and pop it in the fridge just for a couple hours, just so the batter can just stick together. And shortbread actually is more crumbly than a pie crust when you make it, but once you put it together in your pan, it will stick together. So don't worry if it looks crumbly at first. Almost done. Then I'm gonna get my vanilla extract in there. So you don't want to put too much because you don't want it to overpower the flavor, but also you want your shortbread to have some flavor. So about 3/4 teaspoon. Should be good. I'll probably add 1 for good measure since I'm actually doubling, but you don't have to do that. I'm gonna crank it up. Crank it up again. So I'm just gonna remove everything from the paddle. So then I can put this mixture in its own separate bowl, since you could probably just pop this straight into the fridge already, but since this is too big to fit into my fridge, I'm just gonna put it in a separate bowl. So I popped my shortbread crust in the fridge. So while that's in there, I am gonna make my crumble topping. So I'm taking about a cup of oats, just regular oats, no special brand. And then you will also need brown sugar. So you will need about a cup of brown sugar. So you're just gonna add that to your food processor as well. And just add that. I'm using the Wholesome brand. I love this brand because it's not too sweet. And then a pinch of salt. And then you're just gonna mix all of that together. I like to use the pulse mode so I can kind of gauge how everything is going in the food processor. It doesn't go too fast for me. So next you're gonna put butter to help bind everything together. So I'm just gonna dice up that last bit of butter that I had earlier when I was making that shortbread. So I'm just dicing up and adding it into this mixture. And you want it in cubes so it'll help grind better. If it's too big, it's just gonna take a while to mix together. So keep it in small chunks. Again, pulsing it helps instead of it running all the way through. Pulsing it just, I don't know, I feel like you have a better control of it. So that's what I highly recommend. Now you're just gonna add probably half a cup of flour. This will help bind everything together too, to keep it that crumble texture that you want from a crumble. Without the flour, it will just spread apart. So the flour definitely helps a lot. So I'm adding a little bit of more butter because I want it more crumbly. That's the texture you are looking for this. You're not actually going to bake this, so you just wanted that crumble texture before you add it to the bars. So just continue to mix until it's in that crumble texture like I said earlier. And that's it. That's how you make that crumble topping. So it should have like a sweet flavor, not too sweet, and everything should be grinded together. So once you're ready, you can get your shortbread crust out of the fridge and just roll it out, and then you're gonna add it to a baking dish. So I'm just gonna roll it out and then put it into my baking dish and kind of just press it into each other to make a crust. So what I like to do is bake this shortbread crust for a little bit, just so it gets the bottom part of your dessert bar gets cooked. If you don't do this, it'll be a little more crumbly and it won't cook all the way through. So I like to cook the crust first, and you're not cooking it all the way through. You just want to bake it for probably like 10 minutes. So I'm just adding my crust to my dish, and I like to put parchment paper so it's easy to pop it out of the dish and you won't ruin the shape of your dessert bar. So I'm just pounding it into my dish like so. So that's one of the first things you're going to do before you pop it into the oven, and just set your oven too while you're prepping this at like 375 degrees. And once it's ready to bake, you're just going to pop this into the oven. So I just want to make this as even as possible. So I'm using my hands to make sure the whole dish is even, because you want your bars to look even and not have too much crust. And everything should be grinded together. So once the crust is done baking for the first time, I'm adding my ube jam onto this and just spreading it on there. So I did the guava the guava bars earlier, and unfortunately the record button didn't go on, so I'm just going to show you the ube one. But the same thing with any kind of topping, any jam you want, you're going to layer it on next on top of your shortbread crust, and you're going to spread it evenly into your pan. And then now you're going to take your crumble topping and then just add it on top. So you're just going to spread it evenly on top and sprinkle it on. And that's about it for the dessert bar before you pop it back into the oven for the second bake. So you're just going to spread this around evenly as possible. You could put as little as you want or as much as you want. I like to cover it all because the crumble, I think, is my favorite part. Funny enough, I like the crumble part. It reminds me of an apple crumble, that like an apple pies, or the crumble on top. Oh, it's just so good. So I'm going to spread that evenly onto the bar before I pop it into my oven. So you're going to bake this at 350 degrees for probably 20 minutes. And here I just want to show you some footage of what I did get from my guava bars. These look like it just got out of the oven. So you can see like the pink. Oh. And here's the finished product. Here's the ube bar. I cut it into a square. And look how yummy that looks. And then this is how the guava bars look like. So you can't really see the jam, the guava puree, but the guava is packed with flavors. Okay, you guys, to be honest, I thought it was gonna be hard to make these dessert bars, and actually it was really easy, right? And I'm not typically a baker. I used to hate baking because of all the concise measurements, but I've grown to love it, and I love to test and learn my baking skills, and this is super easy, and my kids love these bars, and you can put any topping you want. I just showed you how to use ube jam, and actually I have a video on how to make that, and it's super easy. I'll link it below. And my guava puree. Since it is guava season here, I got some guavas from a friend, so I was able to use some of that puree in these dessert bars. But you could probably put like lemon, calamansi, what else? Fruit. You could probably put fruit in it and make it into a puree, like a strawberry jam. Or if you don't have time to make those toppings, get store-bought. That's okay. You know, jelly, you could put it in there. So many ways to make this dessert bar. Let's do a taste test. So I actually don't have the ube one because I sold out of them. I actually had a pop-up and people loved it, so that's good. But this one is the guava one. It's the right tartness, and the shortbread and the crumble on top gives it that sweetness, so it doesn't overpower you. You really get the guava flavor. And a lot of people are kind of skeptical with guava because the texture, I guess, and the tartness of it, but I love guava. I'm a huge guava fan, so when I got my hands on guava, I'm like, let's test it out. And it turned out really good. My husband actually is not a guava fan, and he loves these dessert bars, and the kids love it too. So if you want to learn more about Filipino cooking, I have a link below to sign up for our newsletter. I'm actually going to be announcing a couple new things, so be the first to know, and I share a lot of my Filipino recipes on there. So I'll be announcing, like I said, announcing something new coming up that's great for my busy parents or anyone busy in general that needs some help on some stuff. So before we head out, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Oh, and also, I want to know what your favorite Filipino dessert is. Comment below. All right, you guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!